Hi there. So, we're moving on to our next module on medieval and Renaissance Europe. And this next text we're reading is from medieval France. We're reading a text from a female author, Christine de Pizan. She wrote this allegorical text called The Book of the City of Ladies as a way to shed light on how women had been misrepresented by their contemporary male authors. And in her book, Dupuison shows us various examples of admirable women from history and from literature, all of which contradict this negative stereotype she's speaking up against. The beginning of Dupuison's account is written in the first person. She tells us how she was in her library choosing a book to read. Dupuison is aware that it may be uncommon for a woman at this time to be such an avid reader. It's also important to remember that books during the Middle Ages in Europe were very expensive compared to today. They were all written out by hand. So having a library of books to choose from shows us the wealth that Dupuison enjoys. Now, what she finds in the books that she has read, all of which were written by men, is that women are depicted in a very negative light, and she asks herself, why would God make such a terrible creature? When she feels completely discouraged by this, she then suddenly has a vision. She sees a light in the corner of her room, and three ladies emerge. Now, these are ladies, meaning they are wealthy, aristocratic women. That's what the word lady originally referred to. So once Dupuison starts describing her vision, we see that writing in the Middle Ages isn't always so realistic, right? We see how many times Christine refers to God in her writing. Religion was very important to a medieval writer. The Catholic Church was a very powerful institution at this time in Europe. Christine has a vision of three ladies who are like spiritual or celestial beings, one of whom, we learn, represents reason. Now, this is the beginning of her allegory. An allegory is an important mode of writing that we see a lot in texts from the Middle Ages. In an allegory, concrete things, like ladies standing in the corner of the room, are used to represent abstract ideas, like reason. So, just as the vision of the lady represents reason, so the city of ladies that Dupuison is trying to construct is really a symbolic or an abstract city. Lady Reason tells Christine to take her trowel, trowel is another word for a shovel, and to start digging to lay the foundation of this city. However, the city of ladies, is not a physical city. She's literally not going out and starting to build a wall. It's an abstract community of great women from history and literature. So, in a sense, every story that Dupuison tells of a great woman from history or literature, like the Amazon princess Penthesilea, who is another of her subjects, that's like another stone to construct her city. It's important to note that what Dupuison is referring to when she says city. Now, the original French title of this book is La Cité des Dames, and the medieval cité sounds like city. The medieval cité is not the same as what we would call a city. First off, it's the Middle Ages, so there's not as much technology at that time. So there's no cars, no roads, no lights. The medieval cité is much smaller than a modern city. The medieval cité consists of similar things to a city. There would be shops. There would be different artisans. There would be markets to buy food. There would be a hotel or an inn for someone to spend the night. Of course, there would be a church in the city, in the cité. And it's important to remember, too, that the medieval cité had walls around it. And that's so that the farmers and the sellers who enter the cité to sell their goods can be taxed. And also so that the people in there conducting their business can be protected from robbers, other criminals, and vagrants that are outside. So the cité, the city here, is a place of exchange, of commerce, and of communication. It's a social center, and it's also a protected space. So we will read the account of one great female leader, and that's in chapter 15. Her name is Queen Semiramis. After the death of her husband, she has to take the lead. So as you're reading that, think of the ways in which Queen Semiramis breaks the stereotype of that typical female, and how her example helps Christine de Pizan disprove the stereotype she finds so often in male writers. So, by building this Cité des Dames, City of Ladies, de Pizan is creating an abstract space where women are protected from attack and protected from the slander of male authors. The stones that make up this city are the stories of the great women that make up the majority of her book, like Queen Semiramis. So, the City of Ladies that Christine de Pizan is building is also the book itself. So think about that, and I'll see you on the discussion board.